Questions for Coach Rudolph? Jason.
Joe, how well does this roster fit what you guys want to do offensively right now?
Well, just getting a chance to see him a little bit this year, and I think that's part of just learning about them and getting a chance to know the guys, see how they play, what they do well, and I think it's part of what you need to do going forward is put them in a position where they can be successful, and that's kind of you got to keep them in mind first when you're molding it.
Andy.
Joe, what's the best part about being back?
I've always have had, incredible passion for Wisconsin. And, being a part of it, being back when I coached, spending time here in every aspect, I think as an alum, as a former player, you just do. And it's just a great feeling.
Jesse.
Joe, what's the biggest challenge about being the offensive line coach here in addition to being the coordinator, especially at a place like here where the line is so important?
Yeah, I think everything that truly signifies in the tradition and really the foundation of your offensive line. It needs to run parallel with the foundation of the football program. I think that's ultra important, and I think those challenges will be fun. It'll be great. I look forward to it, and I think you create balance within your staff and the guys that you work with. You have to trust in certain areas, and I think that'll be exciting. I'm enjoying some of the guys I know, some I'm getting to know, and I look forward to working with them. And I think you need those types of relationships to make it all work.
Jeff.
Joe, was it difficult at all to leave the first time when you went with Paul to Pitt? And was it, I don't want to say a no-brainer, but was it easy to come back this time?
I think I'm not a great person with change. I think you're I think when you're doing a job like this, everything in your mind and everything that motivates you is to do great at what you're doing. So when change comes up and it deviates you from doing that, it takes a real while for it to settle in. And yeah, it was really difficult the first time. Obviously, you'd never do it if you didn't have great passion for the person you'd be working for. And I think there are times when you recognize that you need challenges, and challenges help you to grow. And I think it was an opportunity, and I think it was really a great growth period for me. Yeah, and it seems that way, and yet, you got so many close ties and so much that you're passionate about. I think, like I said, when you're changing gears and you're excited about what you're doing, it's always difficult, and I think for all the same reasons that you take the first trip, you take this one with excitement, and now as things start to settle down, you really start to enjoy it.
Zach.
Joe, you had an opportunity to coach Mickey when he was here. What about him as a person do you think makes him a good coach or going to be a good coach?
I think the one thing that you truly appreciate about Mickey, and I had a chance to work with him for 2 years, is there's a willingness there to not only learn but to kind of own it, to learn it at a different level, and you appreciate it with him as a player, and then you also saw an ability in him as a person to create and build relationships. I think there was a time when going into his senior year where I really thought as a team we needed a leader. We needed some guys to step up in that respect, and the way that he was passionate about doing it, and the way he invested in making that happen, and I just have always seen like a great ability in him. So for it to come to this point is pretty fun. I think he'll do an outstanding job.
Andy?
Joe, you made reference to the growth that you had going out to Pitt, the 3 years that you had with Paul. How did that growth change with Paul? How is he a different coach, perhaps? How is he a different organizer than he was when he went out 3 years later coming back to Wisconsin?
Well, I think it's part of our profession. Like every day you're trying to work to be a little bit better, and you're working to change, and you're looking to add things that help you. And to watch Paul, I think over the 3 years, the best part has watched what's been at his core and made him truly special remain exactly that, and his trust in others and his belief in others and the way that he takes input in and thinks through decisions and never stops at trying to find the best outcome in situations, whether it related to football or whether it related to the lives of the student athletes. Those are things that motivate you as a coach to want to do the same. And I think all the other things that you deal with day in and day out, I think just the repetition of doing it, you get better and better and better with. And I'm sure he'd tell you the same thing. It was 3 years where you continue to grow, and if he'd have been in his 4th year there, he'd have been much better 4th year coach. And being here, it's a great chance to put things forward that he had a chance to work through, and he applied there.
Jesse?
Joe, you talked about the growth that Paul made, but in what ways do you feel like you've grown, and what did you learn most about being an offensive coordinator at Pitt that you think you can take here to Wisconsin?
Well, I think first off, going in, being able to put an offense in that, really install it, and from ground zero, and I think that's important. I think really appreciating the fact that you need to know your players, and you need to know their capabilities, what they're good at, and like all coaches need to do, try to put them in the best position to be successful. And you have to be willing to change and bend and then always, I think, keep working towards what you think may be ideal. And, that growth happened from, development, from recruiting, from, you were forced to play guys that were a little younger and get them ready, and no excuses in doing so. And I think you learn a lot from that, and those are probably the main things that really force you out of your comfort zone to have to do.
Jay?
Joe, after being gone for 3 years, when you come back, do you still know where everything is in town, the streets and the football offices look the same, that kind of thing?
Yeah, there's been some great changes. Some of the changes within the facility are very impressive, and have enjoyed that. I got turned around a little bit today, honestly, and but the streets, I'm pretty good there. I'm pretty good finding my way around that part of it. But it's been some really nice surprises coming back.
Anything else for Joe? Rob?
Joe, obviously the fans focus a lot on the quarterback position. Is there a blueprint for a quarterback that thrives under an offense led by you? And what are your thoughts about the guys on the roster here?
I think, we're familiar with Joel, because he was here, he was, so know him. But I think for the most part, we'll enjoy kind of learning about them and finding out their strengths. And I think that's the strength of the offense is trying to help guys have ownership so they really know it and understand it and have confidence in execution, and just put them in positions where they are confident and they can be successful. And that'll be the ultimate goal. So I'm excited. That's the part that you're pumped to dig into and get going with.
Coach, with the Big Ten changing, evolving with type of talent pools at Ohio State, Michigan, team speed seems to be trying to match other conferences in the nation. Do you, on the recruiting trail, do you start to go after a certain type of athlete more, or does your recruiting style or a technique or strategy change now coming to Wisconsin and trying to catch up, or do you stay on your path that you've done before, and how do you assess your strategy for recruiting?
It's probably a better question for Paul, but I would say this. I would say your goal is always to get the best players you can find. And then I think your foundation is that you never compromise when it comes to character or when it comes to a fit in your program. And so that's how you create your pool. And there's nobody that you wouldn't go after.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Joe.